Getting that out the way, we got to talk about this big time, and I mean really big time developing story. And come on, man, you see it on your screen. You see it. Yesterday, not only was Kadyn Proctor trending all over Twitter, but so is Caleb Downs. And he was trending for a very good reason because, as you can see on your screen right here, he started following Alabama football on Instagram. Well. Would you looky at what we got here? It's not so fun when the rabbits got the gun, now is it? When Nick Saban left Alabama, well, he didn't leave Alabama. When he, a better way to say it is, announced his retirement, everybody, they piled on. What was everybody's immediate reaction? Oh my gosh, this is great, guys. It's finally happening. The fall off to the Alabama dynasty. It's here. You got current Alabama players leaving left and right, hitting the transfer portal. You got commits, they're decommitting left and right, and it was a crap show. But what did I tell each and every single one of you dang near every single day when we was making all the videos? Well, I told you a lot of things, but here were some of the focal points. Number one, and this is the biggest one out of them all, Alabama isn't falling off anytime soon. Number two, college football fans, they have what I label as Bama fatigue. They are sick and tired of Alabama being at the top of the sport of college football, and any and every single time Alabama loses a game, or they lose a commitment, or they lose an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, everybody goes, okay, this is it. This is the start to the fall off. But in reality, it's not. People are just so sick and tired of Alabama dominating the sport. Anytime there's an opportunity to write them off, they're going to do it. Number three, this is a testimony to life. I just applied the analogy to the situation with Alabama. Don't get too high on the highs and don't get too low on the lows. Law of averages. Everything's not always going to be good and everything's not always going to be bad. It's going to even out. And last but not least, and there's many more, but this will be the final focal point. I told you guys every single time when a player left Alabama or decommitted, etc., and y'all remember this in my reaction videos, I ain't worried. As a Bama fan, I wasn't worried back then, and I'm especially not worried now after hearing some of the news, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. And trust me, if I was quote-unquote worried when all these players were leaving Alabama a couple months ago, I think y'all know this by now, I'm very transparent on this channel, I would have told you straight up, oh yeah, I'm worried, but I wasn't. Now, with that being said, I guess that's our intro for the video. Yesterday, I received some news across my desk that not only shocked me, but it dumbfounded me. So y'all remember Alabama's 5-star offensive tackle that goes by the name of Kadyn Proctor, right? Well, when Saban retires, he enters the transfer portal and he goes to Iowa. And to give you some more context to our situation here, Alabama already stole him away from Iowa coming out of high school. He was supposed to go there, but he flipped on him last second. He goes to Bama. And when he entered the portal a couple months ago, everybody and their mama, they assumed, oh yeah, he's going to Iowa, and that's what he did. And like I always do, I wish these players the best of luck because I could care less where they want to play college football at because it doesn't affect me to the slightest of bits. I've always had the same stance on this. If you're one of these people that get mad when a player decommits from your school coming out of high school or he enters a transfer portal and leaves, I don't know what to tell you besides you got to get a life and worry about yourself. I'm not saying you shouldn't be slightly upset. What I'm saying is, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, those people that just start ridiculing and criticizing these kids. That's where it gets too far, it gets a little too obsessive, and that's just a different conversation for a different day. Well, yesterday out of nowhere, Mr. Kadyn Proctor here, he goes on Instagram and posts the picture of Michael Jordan with the infamous quote, "I'm back." And if this is your first time hearing about the news, you probably had the same reaction I had. Wait. Is he doing what I think he's about to do? And yeah, he did it. Kadyn Proctor has officially left Iowa and he's returning back to Alabama. And this reminds me of a quote that I've stated with the transfer portal. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, and a lot of players, they're finding that out the hard way. And before we go any farther, I need to say this before I forget. Kadyn Proctor, welcome back, and I'm glad to have you back, my man. And to all my Alabama fans out there, not just Bama fans, but college fans, this is why it's great to not burn bridges and not trash players when they leave your university, just in case they might want to come back, because then you look like an idiot. For me, I look like the great guy, because what did I say when Proctor left? Oh yeah, it sucks, but I completely understand it. Wish him the best of luck, and now he comes back, and hey, we was on good terms when he left, and we're on good terms when he comes back. You see what I'm saying? On the contrary, I saw quite a few Alabama fans writing hateful stuff about him, and now Proctor decides to come back, and it's weird. And this right here is a good example as to why you never, and I mean you never under any circumstance, want to burn bridges in this life. You never know when you're going to need somebody. Case in example here, Kadyn Proctor, he left Alabama on good terms, wasn't hateful towards them, and vice versa. Alabama, they wished him the best of luck, and a couple months later, they get back together and they rekindle the fire. But whoa, hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Well, Matt, okay, that's all fine and dandy. He's going back to Alabama, but why did he leave Iowa? What went down there? Well, to make a long story short, y'all know I got quite a few sources in the state of Alabama. That's where I currently reside at. And allegedly, according to some people I talked to, Kadyn Proctor was on spring break in Alabama not too long ago. And not only was he on spring break in Alabama, but he was hanging out with some of his Alabama former teammates. So you can do what you want with that information, and I think a couple other minor things played into this as well. Another reason I think Kadyn Proctor decided to leave Iowa is because he got up there and he realized it sucks here. You hear people say, well, oh, Alabama's a boring state, but I'm here to tell you, it is one of the best states to live in. It's cheap, not expensive, great jobs, and oh yeah, from Tuscaloosa, you can drive to a beach that is located in Gulf Shores. It's only a couple hours away. But the most important part about Alabama and why I think it's a great state to live in is because it's not cold, it's warm. For my people that live up north, y'all know this, it's depressing. From August until dang near the end of April, it's miserable. You only see the sun like 10 times in a 180-day span. And I think when Kadyn Proctor went on this spring break trip to Alabama, that flipped a switch for him. He was like, yeah, I got to come back. And last but not least, and we got to get a move on here, I think he realized that he made a mistake, and it's totally fine. He's a young guy. He saw Saban retired, and he did what everybody else did. He hit the panic button. You have to understand the circumstance. When Saban retired, it was quote-unquote trendy to leave Alabama. I'm not saying he didn't think for himself, but when you see a bunch of your other teammates leaving, you kind of start to think, well, dang, should I leave as well? And this is why I started out the video by stating it's not so fun when the Rabbits got the gun. Because a couple months ago, everybody's mocking Alabama, saying the dynasty's falling off because they had 20, 30 players leave. Well, now, these same players, they're trying to come back. And I also haven't even talked about this because I don't really care about the recruitment process too much. But the past month or so, Kalen DeBoer has been killing it on the recruiting trail. Getting that out the way, we got to talk about this big time, and I mean really big time developing story. And come on, man. You see it on your screen. You see it. Yesterday, not only was Kadyn Proctor trending all over Twitter, but so was Caleb Downs. And he was trending for a very good reason because, as you can see on your screen right here, he started following Alabama football on Instagram. There was a pretty big notion yesterday that Caleb Downs, he might be leaving Ohio State and returning back to Alabama. And you don't got to be a rocket scientist to figure out why or how these rumors started. It's because he followed Alabama on Instagram. And I also saw some people speculating that his NIL deal, it fell through at Ohio State and he has to leave. Or not has to leave, a better way to say it is he wants to leave. There we go. But from everything I've seen, if I was a Bama fan, I wouldn't get my hopes up. As to why he followed Alabama on Instagram, don't know. Have no idea whatsoever, but I haven't heard anybody tell me that he's not enjoying it at Ohio State and he's looking to go elsewhere. To go on top of that, the Ohio State NIL Foundation, they tweeted this out earlier this morning. Our student-athlete partner, Caleb Downs, is locked in and ready for a big year. Go Bucks. And we all know that's not a coincidence they tweeted that out. They obviously tweeted that out to clear the smoke in the air, or they're trying to at least. And just due to them tweeting this out, it has me thinking, dang, well maybe he wasn't too happy with his NIL deal and he was looking elsewhere, like going to Alabama, seeing what they were going to offer, and then he was going back to Ohio State saying, hey, if you don't give me, I don't know, $200,000 more, I'm leaving. Because there's no way this is a coincidence when there's rumors that Caleb Downs is leaving Ohio State. The NIL Foundation, they tweet this out. No way. If anything happened, here would be my best educated guess on the situation. I assume Alabama, somebody, they called him up and said, hey, if you want to return here, we got $5 million waiting for you. That probably sounded good to him. He went to Ohio State and said, hey, Bama's offering me $5 million, and Ohio State, they upped the offer or matched it, something like that. And I'm not saying that happened with this situation, but that is happening in college football every single day. I talk to these athletes. And yet again, I'm going back to this. It's why I started off the video with, it's not so fun when the rabbit has the gun. Remember, what was it, about a week ago when Saban went to Capitol Hill and he was talking about how NIL was bad for college football? What did everybody say? Oh, well, he's just saying that because Alabama's now at an even playing field. And no, you're seeing why Nick Saban wasn't a fan of NIL in the transfer portal for reasons like this. And it never made sense to me when people were saying, oh, well, Nick Saban doesn't want the NIL in college football because he's scared of an even playing field. What? What are you talking about? Alabama is going to benefit just as much as anybody else from the NIL. I don't know what y'all think is going on at Alabama. But they got money. Trust me. They could be buying all these players left and right, but they don't want to do that. That's not how Alabama's built the program up. And in reality, they don't have to because kids just want to go to Alabama because it's Alabama. On the flip side, Ohio State, they're in panic mode. Their biggest arch nemesis, Michigan, just won a national championship with 3- and 4-star recruits. And no disrespect to the Michigan players, but y'all get what I'm trying to say here. Ryan Day, he's on the hot seat. Heck, he hasn't even beat Michigan in 3 years. They got to win a championship now. It's championship or bust for Ohio State. They're laying all the chips on the table. They've already spent upwards, I think it's like $25 million in the NIL, and it's not even close to being over. It's been a wild past 24 hours in the sport of college football, and I'll leave it at this. Let me know your thoughts down below. But, Robert!